Eta has devastated Central America with flooding. Good morning, I'm Mike Naso with the latest morning video update on Tropical Depression Eta. Obviously, it came ashore on Tuesday night as a Category 4 hurricane in Nicaragua, and it caused devastating flooding. There have been at least dozens of deaths, and now the center moved over Honduras, and it's popped out now east-northeast of Belize City, and it's no longer a Category 4 hurricane, it's a depression, but it now looks poised to become a tropical cyclone to impact the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and Florida. Here's the latest as of 9 a.m. Central Time. Eta was at 17.8 north, 87.0 west, and winds were 35, so it's perched just below tropical storm strength. It'll probably become a tropical storm later today. It's moving north-northeast at 7, and that motion should take it near or north of the Cayman Islands by Saturday night, and we do now have a tropical storm warning in effect for the Cayman Islands, and we also have tropical storm watches here for the coastline, the north and south coastline of Cuba, as well as the Isle of Youth there, with the expectation that Eta will make landfall as a tropical storm sometime overnight Saturday, early Sunday, right along the south-central coast of Cuba, maybe near Cienfuegos or Bay of Pigs, somewhere in this area, and then move out over the Straits of Florida on Sunday, and take an odd track back to the west and northwest. By the time early to midweek, we could be dealing with a strengthening tropical storm over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Once again, the Gulf Coast needs to keep an eye on this, as well as the state of Florida. Now, it's a complex situation that's causing this weird track, and I'll tell you why in a second. You can see the computer models are in good agreement. Something northeast, then north, then west-northwest, then maybe northeast again. And we saw something similar with Hurricane Gordon back in '94 when it zigzagged around, and that was devastating with flooding. So we could hope that there's not a lot of flooding with this storm. Here's the visible satellite. Again, the center is to the east-northeast of Belize City, somewhere in this area here. So it is not well defined, and it's certainly not a hurricane or even a major hurricane like it was a few days ago, and it probably won't be. There's a chance it could become a minimal hurricane again in the future, but right now there appears to be enough southwesterly wind shear to stop that from happening. Nevertheless, the rainfall threat is very real. We could see prolific rainfall over the next, say, 3, 4, 5 days, 10 to 20 inches perhaps over the Straits of Florida. So if you're in South Florida, be on the lookout for 6 to 10 inches of rain by the time Wednesday rolls around, and it could be even more than that if the system slows down or grows in size, or moves a little bit east or west of the track. Nevertheless, there is now a flash flood threat for southeast Florida areas from, say, West Palm Beach all the way down to the Keys, Cape Sable, Miami, Homestead. You guys are all in that area. Now, here's what we're thinking as far as the storm. You can see down here at the bottom of the screen we have Eta, tropical depression. Clearly the winds are streaming here right across it, and that's causing it to be sheared. We think that there's enough of a trough developing here to allow the system to pull to the northeast and then the north. However, as this cuts off into a low-pressure center, we think Eta is going to kind of wrap around into that low, and that's why it's expected to turn either over Florida or over the Florida Straits back to the west. Now, whether it does end up moving back north with another approaching trough, or if the low pressure kind of swings it back into Florida, we just don't know. It's very uncertain. The bottom line is we should have a sheared, large, somewhat subtropical, non-tropical looking system impacting Cuba and Florida and the Bahamas over the next 3 to 5 days. Now you can see sea surface temperatures are very hot over the Caribbean. Obviously it allowed Eta to become a Category 4 hurricane. However, they are pretty cool here in the Gulf. There are cold fronts moving through, and we've had so many storms on the North Gulf Coast. We had Hurricane Laura, Tropical Storm Marco, Hurricane Sally, Tropical Storm Beta, Hurricane Delta, and then Hurricane Zeta, that these waters, along with the fact that it's November, have cooled down. However, they're still high enough to support a minimal hurricane, and if the system tightens up in the Gulf, like the Hurricane Center said, we could potentially have a November Gulf hurricane. I know that happened with Hurricane Kate back in 1985. So the key messages for Tropical Depression Eta right now, number one, the rainfall associated with Eta catastrophic, life-threatening flash flooding in Central America, landslides and higher terrain, and it's possible as well in Cayman Islands and Cuba. And we also could have flash flooding and urban flooding in Jamaica and southeast Mexico. We've already seen very high death tolls in Central America. Number 2, it is expected to bring tropical storm conditions to the Cayman Islands. We have that warning out. And Cuba, western and central Cuba, we have a watch. That'll be changed into a warning in the next 12 to 18 hours likely. Number 3, increased risk of impacts of wind and flash and urban flooding in areas of South Florida, the Florida Keys, and the Bahamas, and tropical storm or hurricane watches. Remember, I said it might become a hurricane or get close to it. They will likely be issued later today or tonight for portions of that area. So if you're in South Florida, especially in low-lying areas, be overlooking your hurricane plans just in case Ada makes its way towards you. You can see it is a rather elongated and ill-defined tropical depression. A lot of that shear here is likely to keep it from being a major hurricane like it was down in the Southwest Caribbean. Nevertheless, looks like another tropical cyclone that's going to take aim at the United States over the next couple of days. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on Ada, and I will see you guys next time.